Welcome to Pario Magazine, where I chat with individuals who have a desire to create. Today, I'm joined by a musician who has been touted by Billboard as the 2024 Emerging Artist and Country Rookie of the Month. He's currently here in Australia off the back of a sold out tour in North America and a very successful tour of Europe. Welcome to Pario Magazine, Max Mcnown.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. We're here today to chat about the journey through the world of country music. Before we dive into that, though, do you want to give our audience a little intro as to who Max is away from music?
Max away from music. Oh man, for music, I was. Music is my whole life now, so it's so funny. I have to figure out. I have to remind myself. A lot of, you know, the term granola. They'll
Yep.
have the like granola people. I would consider myself a granola person from the Pacific Northwest of the U.S. I really, really enjoy hiking, camping, viewpoints, fishing, mountains, rivers. Oh, beaches, lakes. I love the outdoors and I love animals, and um that's kind of a big part of my personality. Huge fan of movies. I love cinema. I love acting. I'm horrible at it. But that's something I really, really enjoy, and I have so much respect for that art form. Um what else? Um yeah, that's that's all I got right now, man.
Yeah, that's great. Um, Given that you like the outdoors, how has your time been in Australia? Have you been able to sort of get out and see some of the outdoors?
Not a ton. I landed the first show I played on this run was actually Auckland, New Zealand, and we I was able to get a car. We drove about 2 hours to the farmland where the Hobbiton Lord of the Rings set is located, and we checked that out, and it was already beautiful over there. And I know the South Island is even more famous for being landscape,
Mhm.
gorgeous with its landscape. Australia's been amazing. I haven't been able to check too much outside of playing the shows and being in the city, but just from a standpoint of being in the city, they feel. I think we've gotten some good weather, but it just feels cleaner than the cities I'm used to, and yeah, I can't really explain it. It feels comfortable, and I've just really really enjoyed my time over here. If you ask anybody, I'm not a big city guy. Like when I go play a show in New York, the first thing I'm thinking is when can I get out of here?
Mhm.
But over here, I haven't felt that once, and so that's a bit of a testament to just the environment that Australia has in its cities. But I'd really love to get out there and explore. We're going to the zoo tomorrow in Sydney. We're going to see some koalas. And then we're going to try to take a boat out to get that view of the opera house that was in Finding Nemo. So,
Yeah, awesome. That'll be great. I was going to ask if you had a zoo trip planned because that's always like a must do when you're here.
yeah.
Have you had a chance to try Vegemite yet as well?
Not yet. I tried kangaroo yesterday, and I tried a prawn at a restaurant. And correct me if I'm wrong, because apparently in another interview they didn't think it was a prawn, but it was just a massive shrimp, like really big. Um, and I wasn't the biggest fan, but the kangaroo was delicious. And I definitely need to try Vegemite before I go. That's a 100%er right there.
Yep. So you're here in celebration of your latest single, A Lot More Free. Do you want to tell me a little bit about the inspiration behind that and how you went about creating the song?
Yeah, the song was written with two friends of mine in Franklin, Tennessee. Um, we all wrote it from different places in our hearts, and I think that kind of came out in the song. The chorus is just very global, and I've had a lot of stories. I've heard a lot of stories from people that relate to it for so many different reasons. And I wrote it just about kind of the standard heartbreak experience, but almost with the perspective of being free from it and looking back on it and realizing that sometimes in the moment you don't understand, but with time you realize that something wasn't what's best for you and wasn't healthy for you, and it's not until you've broken free of that thing that you truly understand that. So that's what the song is to me. But as my dad says, when you release a song, you give it to the world. And so I've given it to the people, and how they relate to it is what's real for them, you know?
And on that note, it has sort of related to a lot of people going to the top of the Billboard emerging charts, top of the iTunes charts, racked up over 200 million plays across all of your songs.
Mhm.
Why do you feel like your songs are connecting with so many people?
Um, I think there's a lot of honesty that sometimes isn't found in every single artist's music. It's not worth releasing a song to me unless it feels meaningful to me in some way, and I make it uh, a non-negotiable goal that with every write, I I'm the one that, you know, brings the primary idea that kind of is the writer of the song. With even when I co-write, I try to make sure that it's my concept or at least something that is just very important to me. And so I think when you do that with every song, and I don't go into writing rooms with the standpoint of I want to write a hit, I want to write a country song, I want to write a pop song, I want to do whatever. That's never what I go into the writing room thinking. It's always just I want to write whatever I kind of find on my heart today. And I think if you write, I think Rick Rubin was the one that said this, but the best thing you can do for yourself or for your fans is to write music for yourself.
Yep. And if we look back to the beginning of this journey, what was it about music that drew you in? Like you said, you had an interest in acting, but you've clearly gone down this music path instead.
The interest in acting is purely observant. I have no idea what that would be like. But as far as the music goes, I've always loved singing. My family has always made it a very normal thing in the house. And I just kind of in sixth grade, I decided it was like my dream to be a singer, and my whole life I just felt as if it were kind of a pipe dream I was never going to actually pursue. And then when I was 21, I started street performing after moving to Southern California, and just started posting some videos, and one thing led to another, and with about 1,000 steps that nobody really sees, it's been a rocket ship.
Yeah, it's that classic saying of like, there's 10 years behind every overnight success.
Yeah, yeah, I'd give it about 2 years for me.
Um, on the idea of sort of evolution as well, who were some of your biggest influences growing up and how have those changed over the years?
Um, Biggest influences growing up. So a lot of my biggest musical influences came from my dad. And he played me a lot of Jack Johnson, Zach Brown Band, Amos Lee, Ray LaMontagne, John Foreman, Matt Carney. Those are the big names that I think of when I think of the music I was raised on. Um, and then just the influences later in life that kind of were the influences that pushed me into professional music, and like trying to write my own and produce music, um, would be kind of a mix of like Tyler Childers, Zach Bryan, Chris Stapleton, Noah Kahn, and Gracie Abrams.
Great. And do you think your experiences here in Australia may influence future music?
I guess, yeah. I mean, I think every person who writes music, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, takes from all that they have looked up to and listened to in their life. So, if there's a crowd of 1,000 people listening to me, and one of those people decides they want to do music as a career, I'm sure some of my stuff will play a part in that.
And then lastly, so as I was growing up, country music wasn't really particularly popular with a younger demographic, but that seems to sort of be changing now with artists like Morgan Wallen, Shabuzi, Blake Shelton, and obviously yourself with over 200 million streams. Why do
Hmm.
you feel country music is becoming more popular as a mainstream genre?
Oh man, I have I have thoughts on that. I think that country music has kind of its borders, and this can be, it's a good thing in a ton of ways, and I think it's a bad thing in a few ways. But country music's borders have kind of shattered, and I think that country music now, that whole country adjacent movement that was kind of led by Zach Bryan, really. I feel like it was led by Zach Bryan and Morgan Wallen as well. Um, those two artists really push the envelope when it comes to what is country. Can a trap beat be in a country song? Can a singer songwriter that has a slight accent from Oklahoma just write a bunch of poetry over four chords? And is that country or is it not? I think it just kind of started that conversation, and a bunch of people followed suit. And now you see, Noah Khan on country stations, and um, which I think Noah Khan, if you would have looked at it 10 years ago or 5 years ago, even, it would have been very cut and dry folk music, which is so I've benefited from this lapse of the borders, but yeah, I think it's largely due to artists just little by little pushing the envelope, trying new things, and then kind of country, what used to be kind of like a slide guitar and kind of the family oriented value system that country music was, um, kind of morphed. There was kind of the bro country era of the 2000s, 2010s. And I think that birthed Morgan Wallen. So I can't trace it exactly, but it's just country music is more popular because country music is wider now. It's wider reaching in musically, instrumentally, lyrically. Uh, it's just all growing, and then there's a lot of good that can be found in that.
Yep, and I think it also, like, ties back into what you said earlier about authenticity. Like, country music has always been very raw and real. There was no sort of just
Storytelling. Yeah.
outside writers coming in and just, "Here's a hit, play this."
Yeah.
Country's always been,
Hmm.
"This is my story."
Yeah. Yep.
And then as we turn to the future, what else is on the horizon for you beyond this tour of Australia?
We have upwards of 50 shows on a headline run in the US, and then we're going to head back to the UK and do some Europe dates in December. So lots of shows. For the year of 2025, we have 120 that are booked. So it's a lot of shows this year. Lots of new music. We have, you know, Night Diving, which just released. I've put out, I think, three singles since Night Diving, and we got a couple more, and then we have the sibling half of Night Diving, that is a double album, and that's coming as well.
Brilliant. So where is the best place for people to support you and track this creative journey to hear all this new music and try and get tickets to these shows?
Uh, I think a good source, number one, first and foremost, probably just maxmcnown.com. Straight, simple, just a website. It'll have a lot of the info on there. I'm most active social media wise with updates and posting on Instagram. So
Yep,
Instagram would be a great spot to reach me. And Instagram is also a good hub for all other links. So you just go to my bio on Instagram. There's lots of stuff. So yeah, follow the Instagram, and that's how you'll get the best updates.
perfect. Alrighty. Thank you so much for taking the time and good luck with the rest of the tour and enjoy the zoo tomorrow.
I will. Thank you. Appreciate it.